Shall we always start in the same way?
How many of us can say our school days began with cosmic yoga?
Namaste.
For St Paul's, a primary school on the Wirral, it is one of many changes, many recalibrations to its day, to the way it must work. Like others, the school is open for a smattering of children in a handful of year groups. They're still trying to provide an education for one of the more deprived schools in England, trying to plan ahead in an age where tomorrow seems distant.
So all we can do as heads is to plan for a reopening, hopefully in September. But nobody knows where we're going to be.
It's the 8 o'clock club there.
Yes, that's the breakfast club.
Yeah.
Normally the breakfast club would meet in here. So then normally during the school day this is a hive of activity with children going backwards and forwards to their classrooms. But as you can see, the notices, this is a child-free area at the moment. Everyone has to stay in their own bubble. And we have siblings in bubbles as well.
Right.
So that makes it a little bit difficult when you're trying to work, not so much for the key workers, but when we bring the other children in.
I'm still fearful. I can't speak about other parents, but I'm still fearful. See you later. Bye.
What is it that scares you so much about
Because
it?
they can still be affected.
Even though there's so little evidence to suggest that
So little evidence, but there's a lot of evidence that hasn't been shared as far as I'm concerned. So
How do you mean?
I think a lot of evidence has been buried.
You don't trust what you're hearing
Yeah.
from government, from ministers?
No, I don't. Not in the slightest.
But if government turns around, you say people, you don't trust them, maybe other people don't trust them. If government says, September, everyone comes back, do you reckon people will send them in?
Don't know. That's my honest answer. I don't know.
There are people confident schools are ready to reopen in full, but it isn't the case everywhere, and the variation arises at least partly from how different people hear different things from on high.
Bye, Mum.
Bye, babe. I think the governments have given misinformation and then changed their minds, so nobody really knows.
You don't trust what you hear, or people don't trust what they hear very often?
Exactly. Yeah.
From the media or government?
Yeah. That's
Why do you
both.
think that is?
Because one day the kids are going back and everything's great, and then they change it, and a week later they weren't.
The aliens marched out of the spaceship.
The only thing that we can do is keep that trust with them and show them that we are doing whatever we can to keep their children safe.
Do you think if the government says in September that everyone's got to come back, it's compulsory again, we're abandoning social distancing, do you think people would listen? Everyone would obey it?
Well, no, I don't know. I don't think so, because they would still be worried, and they would do what they think is best for their children.
No, I do this anyway. I work 7 till 9, and then I come back as a dinner lady, and then I work again overnight.
And you used to be at the school yourself?
I did.
Wow.
I come here when I was 5 till I was 11. I love it. I love it here. It's a lovely atmosphere. It's a lovely school.
How are they all finding it at the moment with COVID and whatever? Are they worried about you working and coming in?
Well, my daughter's pregnant with twins, so she's absolutely petrified, so she won't send them in. She wouldn't even let the gas man in the other day.
But is she not worried about you coming in?
My daughter?
Yeah. About
Little
you
bit.
coming in, yeah.
A little bit.
Are you worried?
No.
No.
No. I'm the one who's cleaning it, so I'm making sure everywhere's spotless, so...
Yeah.
No, not really.
People are still really scared, aren't they?
Yeah, they're petrified.
But these aren't the only fears which matter on the Wirral. There's a fear too that a generation of poorer kids already destined to have to fight harder will be burdened still greater.
Sitting. Good boy, sitting. In a lot of the schools that I work in that are in more socially deprived areas, up to sort of 90% of the children come into school non-entry, they're screened for language difficulties. So it's really important that they're getting the support at an early age and while they're in school.
Because their brains are just more adaptable in a way when they're younger.
Yeah, and just wired for learning language.
And what's the cut-off point then? When do their brains start to become less adaptable?
I think once they're sort of out of the early years and into year 1 and year 2, sort of 6, 7, it does become much more difficult in my experience at that age to sort of help them with those things.
So that young?
Yeah.
Huey,
The plays here, the learning through the play.
The government has suggested private tuition, lengthening the school day to arrest these problems. The head teacher here, though, is sceptical.
I think it could be quite difficult in that the children haven't been in school for 6 months, so then to bring them in and expect them to do longer hours or come in on a Saturday, I don't know that they would do that. Lengthening the school day is not necessarily going to make that much difference in terms of learning, because they'll just be at saturation point at that that stage. We have done everything we can in order to care for our children, and we do care about them and their families.
Lockdown, how have you found it?
Good,
Good. Why good?
because I get to see my friends.
This is a school which has done all it can to assuage parents' fears. But in some places, especially places with less trust in faraway authority, fear remains. Fear and anxiety, fear from the parents, fear for the teachers, fear for the kids. And I think that's the missing element in this conversation. We keep talking about schools without really talking about fear. And conversely, if government does decide to reduce the 2-metre rule from 2 to 1, weirdly that could make the fear worse, because parents might conclude that schools are even less safe than they feared they were in the first place.
Head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes.
This is a school well thought of by its community. They trust its staff. Ministers do not appear to enjoy the same confidence. It is a theme which could yet derail this most important task of returning a generation to the schools.
Oh, bye-bye. See you soon.
Where they belong.